Okay, let's get right back to our guest on the very important topic. Is this the beginning of a major worldwide, or certainly North American, Central American pandemic? Good luck to the world trying to stop it if it really is a pandemic, and it appears to be dressed up in just that suit of clothes. Just got an email from Dr. Patricia Doyle, Ph.D. She says, hello, Jeff. Your guest, Dr. William Deagle, is 100% correct, and I have stated that many times that a pandemic would probably be a mix of the Spanish flu, H1N1, and H5N1. We've talked about that many times on your program. As I said, this influenza outbreak stinks. There have been Eurasian swine strains in the mix, yet the virus supposedly began in Mexico and the U.S. This is the resurrected Spanish flu, no question.
Yeah,
Patricia Doyle.
Absolutely right on the money.
Well, you just need to again point out that these recombinant situations just do not happen by natural selection. They can't.
No,
in fact, I think they're getting frustrated with the fact that the virus was not recombining in the wild, because birds or animals would have to be infected with a human virus and have the receptor binding domain.
Right.
They're short a couple of amino acids. Now this, which is H1N1, has the receptor binding domain, can co-infect animals like birds and pigs and wild foxes and even cattle and sheep.
Any mammals.
Right. So what will happen is this guarantees, this is the warning shot, and I don't know if it'll turn into a pandemic now. My guess is what's going to happen is we're going to have a scare. We may even have some government actions like we have here, reports that they've activated the pandemic centers. But even if we have, quote, a first wave that's relatively mild, let's say case fatality rate of 5%,
right.
What this really is doing is it's putting the shells in the chamber, as Patricia Doyle says, and what it's doing is it's guaranteeing that this is going to recombine all over Mexico, the United States, and probably other countries.
Sure it is.
And it's going to form super strains, not just one, but possibly dozens of different recombinant clades that'll be H5N1, H1N1, because they're so close genetically, they're going to recombine very efficiently, and they're going to be able to attach to humans and spread, and then we're going to have multiple waves. So this is now the warning shot. It tells us whatever's going on, whether it's this kind of what passes in a month or two, it guarantees we're going to be facing pandemic flu probably now almost certainly within 90 days.
Right.
A new super strain that won't be just 5 or 10% death rate, but maybe 30%.
Well, at 5 or 10, 5 is twice the mortality rate of the Spanish flu, and 10% would be double that again. So, and it reminds me of what Dr. Robert Strecker said many years ago to me on this program, in fact. He said, the AIDS virus, he kind of laughed when people said it arose spontaneously in nature. He said, look, this is like someone who has been tragically injured and they're a paraplegic in a wheelchair. And all of a sudden you come over and you find them all dressed up in a tuxedo, slicked back, and ready to go out in the wheelchair. He said, that person didn't dress himself. So it's the same thing with this virus. It just didn't happen.
Yeah, it couldn't have. All of the genetics are like the genetic fingerprints of where the virus has been. It's like an old steamer trunk with all the tags on it.
Exactly. That's a perfect analogy. Exactly right. When they dug this thing up, Patty Doyle and I, and I'm sure you and many other people, probably a lot of you listening out there, said, what is this? Is this a joke? They're trying to pass it off as some kind of a defensive measure they're doing for our welfare to make a virus vaccine? Forget it. This never was intended. Not a chance. This is, you're exactly right. That's a wonderful way to look at it. It's got all the tags on the steamer trunk.
Yeah, this is very serious. People better get ready with their personal defense. It's all happening in a perfect timing, too, for the announcement after the G20 for new world currency. It's a time when they've made literally economic changes, which, in the words of economic experts, can only support 5 billion of the 6.5 billion people on the planet, which means they're starting a program of worldwide population reduction. This is part of their policy, and the documents I got from Human Life International in March of 1997 is that they were going to resurrect using the genetics of the H1N1 and transferring it to H5N1, a new super virus that would kill several billion.
Well,
of the
of
population
course,
of Earth.
easiest way to do it: save the real estate, get rid of the people. This issue of H5N1 so far to date has infected officially, although we suspect a much higher figure, 421 people in 15 countries and killed 257. Now, as Bill and True and many of you listening remember, and certainly Patty, you too, this virus, H5N1, could only survive at avian body temperatures, close to 106 degrees, until about a year and a half ago, Bill. I don't remember when it.
Yeah, sometime last year. We don't know the exact date, but we know it acquired the genetics.
All of a sudden, it could do real well at what temperature, ladies and gentlemen?
98.6 Fahrenheit.
Yep. True. Go ahead.
Well, yeah. So everything I'm hearing is exactly right on track, right on point. It's happened. The genie's out of the bottle, and like I've said for over a year and a half, it's the perfect smokescreen for the lockdown and the martial law to take effect. Because now the World Health Organization, and USA Today, and other the BBC for one, and other international outlets have declared the World Health Organization's pilot center, their nerve center for pandemic flu worldwide, is now activated 24/7.
Uh-huh.
And what that means and what that tells me is it's Operation Go.
Well, what happens, Bill, in a true pandemic with a mortality rate way above the 2 or 3% of the Spanish flu? Who goes down first?
The first people to go down it will take only. We calculated this from our simulations. It'll only take 4 days to fill off all the respiratory units in the country.
Wow,
and then we start seeing the death of healthcare workers.
That's right. First responders, as we've talked about.
Hold
on.
Responders and police.
All right, we'll be right back in just a few minutes. This is reality, folks, and as Dr. Bill says, this may not be the official start of the big-time pandemic, but if this is what we think it is...
This is a shot heard around the world.
It is. Be right back.